Hello, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode of Off the Beaten Path, the show that looks at paranormal events both historically as well as in modern day times. As always, I'm your host, Reverend Hagen, and as always, I'd like to welcome our listeners at SCRMradio.com. That's SCRMradio.com for all your horror and paranormal needs. Now, for at least a month, I've been promising you guys a show on Mount Pleasant's Mothman Menagerie. The whole experience that the Mothman Prophecies book was based on by John Keel. It was a year and a half of not just a giant winged, red-eyed, man-like creature that a few people saw, but it was also other interactions with very strange individuals, with men in black, with cryptoids. Bigfoot was sighted at the time. UFOs all over the place. UFOs so consistent you could set your watch by them that would go down the Ohio River every night. Sadly, that is not the show you're going to get tonight. The reason for that is I filmed the show a month ago. I edited it, added a bunch of pictures, a few video clips, and when I rendered it, when I took the whole thing together after editing and rendered it into a solid video, it won't come out correctly. Either there's halfway through it, the sound cuts out, or the sound cuts out at the beginning, or an image will freeze, like me talking, will freeze, but it still plays for that half an hour. So I know there's a corrupted file somewhere in there. Trying to deal with the problem. I may have to refilm it again. But in the meantime, before I do, what I wanted to do, and excuse me, my voice is already getting crazy. Oh, God, excuse me there. Is look at another phenomenon that I've been following for a number of years that kind of goes into three different categories, which we're going to get into tonight. This might be a little longer show. If it is, my listeners at Scream will not be able to hear it. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. The reason for that would be I have a half an hour on Scream Radio. That's my time slot. I can't go over it. I can't go under it. So I got to nail it right on the head through editing. I don't think I can get all the information that I need to get out about this particular topic that I still haven't told you what it is yet in a half an hour. I hope I can. What I want to talk to you about tonight is Indigo children / star children / alien hybrid children. I know what you're thinking, and I know we're jumping down the rabbit hole, but you know what? I've been trying to pick out shows I think the audience would like to hear. Now, that's a good thing to do, but sometimes it'll lead me to a topic that I'm not that familiar with, and I have to dive into a bunch of research on. I don't mind doing it. Some of you have made suggestions, like last week's, or almost 2 weeks now, Bachelor Grove Cemetery. That was a suggestion from a viewer, and I thought, why not? It is one of the most haunted places in the world. Why not give you guys that show? This show, though, I actually have some time invested in personally. A lot of people believe that the Indigo child, Star Child, and Alien Hybrid Child are all the same thing. And we'll get into I know you're saying, what the hell are you talking about? You still really haven't told us what's going on if you've never heard of any of those particular subjects being brought up. The reason I haven't gone into detail is that I have to go into detail on each topic for you to understand what I'm talking about. Because even if right now, if you pause this video and Google searched Star Child, you get a bunch of Indigo Child stuff. If you Googled alien hybrid children, you'd get a bunch of Star Children and Indigo Children, but you'd also understand very quickly that you've jumped down a rabbit hole that is very opinionated on every side, on the Indigo Children side, on the Star Children side, and on the alien hybrid side. And there's a plethora, thank you, of information out there on all of it. Okay? So it's hard to get started, but we're going to do it right now. Let's start off with Indigo Children, and you'll see how they bleed into each other, And once we get to the end, I'll give you a bunch of crazy facts concerning all of them, where my beliefs are with it, and the research that I've done into it, and the crazy stuff that I've found, thinking I knew a lot, looking into this further when I did research for the show. So, Indigo Children. There's going to be a bit of reading. I got to warn you too. There's going to be a bit of me reading tonight for this episode, and I'll tell you why. Because I really want you to know where the people that really believe in each specific concept, specifically where they're coming from. I don't want to paraphrase it. I want to get it right to do it justice. And I know that sounds strange when we're talking about a topic that most of you are going to roll your eyes on, but it is what it is. So we're going to start off with Indigo Children. Indigo children, according to a New Age concept, are children who are believed to possess special, unusual, and sometimes supernatural traits and abilities. The idea is based on the concept developed in the 1970s by Nancy Ann Tape. I'll butcher anybody's name. I don't care what nationality you are. The idea is, and further developed, by Lee Carroll and Jan Tober. The concept of indigo children gained popular interest with the publication of a series of books in the 1990s and the release of several films in the following decades. A variety of books, conferences, and related materials have been created surrounding belief in the idea of indigo children and their nature and abilities. The interpretations of these beliefs range from their being the next stage in human evolution, in some cases possessing paranormal abilities such as telepathy, to the belief that they are more empathetic and creative than their peers. Now, and excuse my voice again, I don't have the Rona, as the kids say, but I do have an autoimmune gig that makes my voice get very crackly, but I didn't want to skip too far on the schedule of the show. I want to give you guys a consistent show at least once a week, and I missed last week because of that editing faux pas, and it's not going to happen again. So please excuse me. So basically what you've got is a theory that came around, as far as the New Age people are concerned, in the 70s, about children that have these special abilities. One of the reasons that they're called indigo children is it's believed that it's the color of their aura. Now, I have a hard time believing people that regularly watch this show, or people that would be interested in a show like this, don't know what auras are. But they're basically your life energy, right? Some people can see auras. There's even a machine that can take pictures of the electromagnetic field around your body, which some people believe is your aura. Now, once you jump down the aura rabbit hole, as it were, indigo children are people whose permanent color is indigo. Now, your color may change. The theory goes, your color may change by what you're going through spiritually or emotionally, the different trials that we have in life, how you're expressing your energy is going to come off in different colors. But at your base, you have a permanent color. Some people see them as your permanent color, and then there's a layer of what you're going through, and sometimes there's a layer of light. So indigo is the color of these very special children. I suppose it would follow then that there are blue children and cyan children and yellow children and green children. But apparently they don't have all the abilities that the indigo children do. And it sounds like I'm making light of this, and I guess I am a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with not taking yourself so seriously, in my opinion, when it comes to this stuff. I'm not downing anybody that has this belief. I don't down anybody that's got any kind of belief. And yet I digress one more time. So indigo children apparently have this indigo aura about them, as it were, which is one indication. Another indication is They say people with ADHD is a flag for being an indigo child. People that have autism that suffer from autism, because I really don't like the term of that. I know quite a few people in quite a few different spectrums of autism, some very severely where it's crippling for them, and other people that have a different level of that, or a different venue. I'm not even choosing the right word for that, but I have a different kind of autism, I guess, within the spectrum of autism. All right. People that believe in indigo children believe that if you've got autism, you fall under that category. If people that have psychic abilities, telekinesis, people that can remote view, even though it's been proven that a lot of people can remote view, that you are indeed a star child, or an indigo child if you can. But this is where it gets tricky, because then when we get to star children, and I'm going to quote a few other people as well. This is actually from Nikki Pattillo, and she starts off her description of star children with a quote by Oscar Wilde, of all people. Oscar Wilde said, "I can believe anything, provided that it's quite incredible," which is a pretty neat quote, but it does give you an idea of Oscar Wilde's frame of mind. So this is Nikki's take on the deal. Star children are children who have been sent here from all areas of the universe to help the earth and the people on it. They possess psychic, spiritual, and other extrasensory abilities. These children will bring peace, topple corrupt systems, and shift dimensional consciousness in the years to come. They have come here on a special assignment to assist in this rebirth into a higher dimensional earth. Star children are different, thank God. As of now, our star children have been divided into 3 categories. Here we go. Indigo, crystal, and rainbow. Star children have chosen specific parents who will help them develop their natural abilities. If you are a parent of a child you know is different, your child probably chose you to help them and others in their spiritual path. How lucky you are to be the chosen parent of one of these incredibly gifted souls here to help this earth. The most wonderful aspect of star children is their willingness to take on the world and learn to make their own way through it. Star children will get to the point where they are able to mold society into something that reflects their energies and values. The truth that they hold and defend so well will reflect their integrity and spirituality. Pretty heavy, but she's included indigo children into the star children description. Now, it may sound kind of out there, but for a lot of people, the idea that we choose our parents before we come into this world is not a foreign one. Now, believe me, when it comes to my parents, my mom has some issues. I'll just leave it at that. And if you have an abusive parent, it's hard to imagine that you chose that. In my belief system, it started out with that you chose your parents to learn whatever lesson you were supposed to learn in this life. I know not everybody believes that. That's cool. That's how I started out my belief with this particular deal. I no longer walk that particular path that says that. I'm kind of on the fence on how I believe in that particular concept, but that it's woven into this, I found very interesting. Nikki, she's written a bunch of books on star children. I'm going to leave all those links in the description below. So if I read that and you went, oh my gosh, this is it. This is me. This is my kid. I can't believe it. Go ahead and do some real reading, dig into this. Don't just take her references, or do, but with anything, I think it's really important to look at it from every angle. That's just how I deal with stuff. If I'm given some information that seems legit or resonates with me, especially on a spiritual level, I don't just jump in like I did when I was younger with both feet. I need to step back, go, wow, that's really cool. Check out the author, right? See what they're about. Read other books on the subject, and then make an informed decision instead of just the habit that a lot of us have, where we'll read an article online. It resonates as the truth. I don't even know what that means, but I know you know what I mean. And now it's fact. It's in stone. That's not the way it works. I know it's the way it works now, much to my chagrin, but that's not really how the world works. Check your facts and check your sources. Come at it from a few different angles. Anywho, I've digressed again. Can you believe it? All right, now I'm going to go. Excuse me again. I'm so sorry. I know I sound like an aging blues guy right now, but I still want to get the show out. So if my voice is off-putting, I do apologize for it. This next gig on Star Children is from the Golden Path of Illumination. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but that's literally the title of the this guy's forum. And it starts off with a quote from the Book of the Law. Goodness gracious. Oh, it's going to be one of those episodes, but bear with me, people. When we get to the end of this, it'll blow your mind, I hope. Every man and woman is a star. The Book of the Law, which was written by Aleister Crowley. If you don't know who Aleister Crowley is, look him up. Aleister, Uncle Al. One of my favorite characters in occult lore and in the occult period. An amazing guy. Yeah, I know a lot of you are going to say, yeah, but he was insane. He was a dick. He was a drug fiend. He ended up dying as a heroin addict and blah, blah. And yeah, sure, that's true. But we're all more than just one thing, in my opinion. I am a priest. I am hopefully a student forever. I'm also a teacher. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm an Army veteran. I'm a proponent of peace. We all have different sides to our personality. So when you hear names like Aleister Crowley, please do yourself a favor and don't just look at, again, one source. Look at it from many different angles. And yes, Hagen, Rev, you've digressed once again. Yeah, that's right. Now, I'll read you this little bit. It's a little bit longer, but I'm telling you, I really like this one a lot. Maybe it's just my affinity for Uncle Al, but here we go. You may have heard of indigo children, rainbow children, and crystal children. But have you heard of the emerging star children? Star children have their own unique purpose in the universe at this time. Their purpose is to lead people home, back home to their authentic selves, back home to their spirits, back home to their inner child, back home to take their rightful place, back home to their purpose, which is why the Golden Path of Illumination was born. After much research online about star children, what I found is proven practically useless. Many have used the term star children as an umbrella like pagan or Christian, with the denominations being indigo, rainbow, crystal, etc. I do not agree with this generalization. Star people are a specific group of their own. This grouping has nothing to do with aliens from outer space, nor can this group be put into the same place of indigo, rainbow, or anything other such as aura-colored groups. Here we go. If you are of the stars, isn't that nicely put? But if you are of the stars, then you know that thou art, God and Goddess. You understand that reality is an illusion. You have a divine purpose. You are a leader, not a follower. You are unafraid to stand up, speak out, and be counted. You are tolerable of all paths, knowing they all lead to the center. You give love and compassion out freely. You are a metaphysical worker, healer, counselor, friend, parent, child, who has gone through many hardships, trials, and tests of patience and character. You are comfortable with change, as change is really your only constant. You have lived a life based on experiences, discovery, and curiosity, and continually seeking peace. You care about humanity. As a child of the stars, you have learned not only from your native culture, but from cultures around the world, how to bring peace to your own mind, body, and soul. You understand that there is a greater truth out there, but the only way to uncover it is to realize that every culture, religion, and science has a portion of the truth, and that truth can only be perceived together through love, knowledge, and understanding. You have been seeking this truth as long as you can remember. Even without study, you have always known that vibration, song, is the key to true harmony. Just as vibrations resonate through crystals, flowers, guitar strings, wind, and cosmic forces, vibrations resonate through you and yours. Through you and yours, have always been at the higher frequency. As such, you understand that it is within you to raise the frequency of those around you in your family and community. You have a strong inner compass and go where the divine takes you. Your journeys have been many and long. You have an affinity for the night sky, for astrology, astronomy, even astrophysics. You are thrilled when you find connections between the heavens and the earth, for it is within these connections that your ancestry lies. Science reveals to us all the time that all elements originated from stars. The only thing that separates us from stars is time, and time is relative to position in the universe. Take your position, star child. Now is the time. Walk in the path of the spiritual warrior. Leave your truth. Reveal it to others and awaken the world to wisdom. Carry the torch of illumination. Wow. Okay, I know that was a lot. I know that was a lot of information. For me, when I first read that, it really resonated with me. Even the first time I read something similar to that, years ago, decades ago, it hit me right in the chest. I identified with it on so many different levels that it kind of freaked me out, if I'm being honest with you. Does this mean I'm a star child? Hell, I don't know. When I first moved to San Francisco with my girlfriend, we lived in her aunt's house, and it was such an amazing, eclectic experience, I can't even tell you. Her aunt believed that I was part angel, and so was my girlfriend at the time. Somebody else in the house didn't really buy the angel bit, but believed that we had more of whatever cosmic power that the universe gives us than the average bear. It was really a trip. There was a gal that was writing a book, because her aunt let all these really eclectic spiritual people live there. She was writing a book on the chakras of the earth. And every full moon, we lived there for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, but every full moon, we would chant the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, along with other people that were chanting it at the same time around the world. Now, as many of you know, if you've watched the show before, I don't follow any Abrahamic tradition. Nevertheless, it was a very powerful experience. And what it said to me was that love is love. And connecting with that part of another human being, all of us trying for the same vibration around the world at the same time during a full moon, was crazy powerful. So for me, it was an amazing experience. I was very new to my path to Wicca. Hadn't even joined a coven yet, the one that I would join within 6 months of living in this place. I had only read Ray Buckland's Big Blue Book, The Complete Book of Witchcraft. Hope it doesn't freak anybody out. Well, you all know I'm a Wiccan priest, so what the hell. And everything was still new and fresh and exciting. I still had that bit of cynicism of like, okay. But I would believe that whoever was telling me believed what they were telling me, unless they were full of shit. And I've always had a really good BS meter. So anyways, it was an amazing experience. Before I get off of Uncle Al, I'm going to transgress one more time because it has to do with Star Children. One of my favorite stories about Aleister Crowley is a story about Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and Alan Parsons getting together and doing a working in the middle of the desert in New Mexico to create the Star Child, a being of light that would usher us into the new consciousness, much like the illuminated path just got through saying, right? Only he's saying we're all these, if you are a Star Child. But they were trying to create this being. And the story goes that they accidentally did not create a Star Child, but ripped a hole in the universe to another dimension, which let through the modern UFO wave that we experience of aliens and ultra-terrestrials. It was all laid at the feet of Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and Alan Parsons. Now, there is not a scintilla of proof to this story. None. There is nothing that places those three guys in 1947 in the desert in New Mexico. And yet, it's one of my favorite stories that are out there. But what a fantastic story. Yeah, do I believe it? Not really, but I love the idea of it, and it's a great story. All right. So, that's Star Children in a nutshell. Indigo Children kind of in a nutshell. You can see the similarities between them. Although Star Children, the people that believe in Star Children kind of look down on the people for some reason that believe in Indigo Children. Don't ask me why. It always kills me when that kind of thing happens. When somebody in the New Age community that has an idea, even if it resonates with me, that has an idea, a spiritual belief, but somebody else has one, and it might be kind of off the wall, and then somebody else has one that's also pretty off the wall, and they make fun of the other people. It's like, you've been looking at a crystal for half an hour trying to scry the future, but you don't believe that the language of the angels, Enochian, is real, even though John Dee supposedly translated it through a crystal. Like, come on, man, you're killing me. Anyway, I digress once again. It's just my pet peeves about the community. The other thing I want to talk about is the hybrid children. Now, and when I say hybrid children, I mean alien hybrid children. There are a lot of people that believe that they've been abducted by aliens. You can call them ultra-terrestrials, aliens, the Greys, the Nords, whatever. Usually it's the Greys when these things happen. They believe that they've been abducted and that they have had sex with aliens and that they have children from these. Now, I said that kind of flippantly, and I certainly didn't mean to. The people honestly believe this happened. And I've talked to more than one person that interviewed myself that believe this is true. I interviewed a woman, I should say, in Berkeley, California, and this is in the 90s, who believed that she was pregnant, that she was carrying the baby of an alien-human hybrid, that she had fallen in love with this being, and it wasn't a Nord, it wasn't, Nordics are the ones that look like Vikings, basically. It was kind of the higher echelon of the Greys, for lack of a better term. If you've ever read Communion, Whitley Strieber's Communion, it was that kind of being, the one that communicates to him. Even though his was female, this woman felt that hers was male, and that she actually had sex with this being. Other people believe that their DNA meant that their semen had been taken by aliens, and women that their ovum had been taken by aliens and used to create hybrid human beings. The woman in Berkeley I talked to, in her second trimester, her baby went away. They called it an hysterical pregnancy. She wanted a baby so bad. She believed the idea that this had happened to her so strongly that her belly actually distended and her body acted like it was pregnant, according to the rational explanation. Although, what I found interesting is she had a ultrasound done of the baby. They saw the baby, and it was a healthy baby. So, what are we to believe there? Some people believe that will believe that she was crazy and she might have had an abortion and she made this story up, or she created this illusion in her head to come to terms with that. Other people believe that she was never pregnant, that it was in fact a hysterical pregnancy, which sounds, I know those things have happened, but that is wild to have that kind of control over your body. That's a whole nother show, as far as I'm concerned. And other people will believe that she had an alien hybrid, and at some point it was taken from her. There's a video after video, movie after movie, as far as documentaries are concerned, on YouTube, and back in the day when you couldn't watch it on YouTube, of people that believe they've met their children, that they recognized their children that were living with an alien race. I'll leave it to you to decide what you believe. I know I said from the beginning we were going down the rabbit hole on this. But the farther you dive in and the longer you research this stuff, the more believable it becomes, right and wrong. This is the stuff that bothers me, though. A group of women in the U.S. claim to have children fathered by aliens. As described their sexual encounters with extraterrestrials as the best they've ever had. Bridget Nielsen from Sedona, Arizona, and Aluna Verse from Los Angeles, California are among the members of the hybrid baby community who believe their children live on a giant alien spaceship. The pair claim between them they have 13 children with aliens, and that the conceptions either through artificial insemination or sexual encounters. And I'm going to leave the link to this article down there. It's from the Daily Mail UK deal. There's a lot of other sites out there that claim this thing. The thing that makes me really uncomfortable and frankly a little angry is that there are groups that are going to take advantage of women that believe this. There are groups out there that for a small fee will help you connect with your alien baby. For a small fee, they'll help you connect with a baby here, a hybrid baby here. They have Facebook pages, they have YouTube channels. I find it disgusting. If there were no money involved, I think, well, whatever floats your boat. But they're bilking people that, believe it or not, have gone through a traumatic situation. Whether you believe the alien abduction phenomenon or not, the people that have gone through this, I have gone through it. Now, whether it's a mental illness, whether I'm making stuff up, I don't know. But for me, it was very real and very terrifying and very invasive. All right? And it started when I was very young. So I know a lot of you think after me saying that, well, you're fricking out. So much for the show. Hagen, you're fricking out there. Between that and my beliefs, they don't require you to believe me. I don't expect you to believe me. I hope you would, but if you don't, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I know what I experienced. That's really all I can say. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to the question of indigo children, of star children, of any of this stuff, where we've lumped in, where they have people not just with psychic abilities, right? With other paranormal gifts, but people that are more empathic than others, people that are true empath. And I'm going to say this and piss a lot of people off, but there are very few true empaths out there. And what I mean by that is, if you were truly empathic, okay, in a very real sense of the word, it would be crippling to leave the house to experience that kind of onslaught of emotion. Do some people have this ability? I believe they do. I believe I've met a few. but they're very isolated. They can't take being in public. Perhaps there are different levels to being an empath, where you do feel what other people are feeling if you have a very strong emotion with them. I can usually sense what somebody's feeling, but for me, it's more reading their body language, a lot of times what they're not saying. So the empath question is a little iffy for me. The other deal is that now they've included people with ADHD and people with autism into these deals, and that's more an indigo phenomenon, an indigo child phenomenon than a star child phenomenon. Science is going to tell us this. It's called the Fourier effect or the Barnum effect. It's a common psychological phenomenon whereby individuals give high accuracy ratings of descriptions of their personality that supposedly are tailored specifically to them, that are in fact vague and general enough to apply to a wide range of people. This effect can partially be the explanation for the widespread acceptance of such paranormal beliefs and practices as astrology, fortune-telling, aura reading, and many types of personality tests. So a lot of people, if you're a skeptic, this is going to be your go-to on this. On most paranormal stuff, I think this is going to be their go-to. But I do know a lot of New Age people that will hear something like this, and immediately, if they've got 2 or 3 of what it takes to be a star child or an indigo child, will say, well, no, that's me. That's absolutely me. Now, I identify more with a star child second description that I read off the Path of Illumination. But that's just me. Now, we've gone over a lot. I know I'm ending it kind of, the description stuff kind of abruptly. We've gone over a lot, but here's the deal. I could say that all this is just hooey. If I just heard it and was going by testimonials, which is really the only way you can go through this, unless you've had experiences that identify you as a star child through, or an indigo child, or an alien human hybrid, through meditation, if you've had that kind of experience, which can even be subjective in and of itself. But here's the deal. In 1979, the Chinese government started to gather up any children with any kind of special abilities. And apparently, out of the 1 billion people that were there at a time, they gathered the 4,000 most talented children in this and had them doing PSI work. Some children were supposedly able to look at an object and have it disappear in one area of the room and make it reappear in another. There was a fascinating Omni article about it. And you may think, oh, Hagen, man, were you buying what they were selling back in the day? Because it wasn't an Omni magazine, which used to be a really cool magazine. Probably still is, but I don't have a subscription anymore. See, magazines for the younger people, to get your information when it wasn't on the internet, because the internet really wasn't a thing when I was growing up, you had to order a magazine. It was all this paper that came together that you would read to garner information about a topic that you were interested in. Think of it as like a paper Google that you had to send and then wait for it to come out once a month. I'm sure you know what a magazine is, but you know what I'm saying. Now you just type it in, you get all kinds of information. And unfortunately, you take it as gospel. But one of the reasons that I do take this a little bit more seriously is I was on the CIA's website and found a document pertaining to this Omni article. And it was released for publication, I think, in 2000, in 8/11/2000. It was released to the public. It was no longer classified as secret, even though this came out in the late 70s, early 80s. Weird. At least the original article about it that was from China, and then Omni did a follow-up article on it. And I've left the link down here for it. It's fascinating. I actually left the CIA link, and then you have to click on the PDF and save it as a PDF to read the article. But it is absolutely fascinating. They were going for a comparison and some experiments using EHF, which is exceptional human functions, wild terminology, in chi or ki, depending on where in Asia you're from. Absolutely fascinating. So while you may blow me off about this whole star children, indigo children stuff, kids with psychic abilities, yeah, whatever, it was valid enough for the CIA to take notice, mainly because they were worried about Chinese children spying on America. We had our own, that's how our own people started doing remote viewing. Ingo Swann coming up with remote viewing to keep people from being bored during psychic experimentation, during what they used to call parapsychologists, doing stuff at SRI, which was at Stanford University. And I'm spent. So that's pretty much it. Pretty exciting. We've gone all the way from Aleister Crowley to the CIA, my brothers and sisters. I really hope you dug the show. Really like doing this one for you. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you hung in there to the end. I know this was a long one. I have a Patreon page as well. As you can tell, the lighting's a little different. I'm working on different lights and sets. As you can tell right now, it's a high-class operation. I've spared no expense. See, that's the problem. I'm the lighting guy, the sound guy, the camera guy, the writer, and the performer on this particular show. So we can get a little much. But anyways, that's my cross to bear, my brothers and sisters. You see what I did there? So if you want to see some improvements to the show, please, by all means, become a patron. At patreon.com. The link is on the screen as well as down below. I'll leave all the links to all the different sites that I got my information from down below, as well as a link to SCRMradio and Scream merchandise. If you're a SCRMradio fan, please take advantage. And as always, I would like to thank my brothers and sisters at SCRMradio.com. That's SCRMradio.com for all your horror and paranormal needs. And my brothers and sisters, during this crisis, know that Reverend Hagen loves each and every one of you. Please be safe. Please follow the rules. If they're wrong about the pandemic, they're wrong. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Right? Follow the rules. We can get through this together if we stick together and do what needs to be done. And as always, my brothers and sisters, you keep those heads up. I love you. Have a great night.